All right, we are live and recording. So hope you guys are having a great day so far, and hope you guys are having a great week so far. Some really exciting stuff going on in the iThrive Collective. A bunch of people just crushing the step challenge. About to give away some really cool prizes and money in the next couple of weeks for everybody in there, and then also obviously one-on-one clients absolutely crushing it. I know I've posted a few transformations recently. Nicole's incredible, Kathy's story, incredible. And then if you've listened to Christy's story that I posted in the Facebook Live group, she's a past one-on-one client, but her story is absolutely incredible with just her struggles with infertility and then finally getting pregnant after losing 35 pounds in the program and now having the tools to actually lose 50 plus pounds after that. Just insane. But today I wanted to come on here actually and talk a little bit about I guess the science behind calories in versus calories out and fat loss and some misconceptions that people have regarding calories in, calories out, and why I think a lot of people get it wrong. And I want to give you a little bit of an analogy and a way to think about this that I think will resonate and make it a little bit less confusing, hopefully, or at least easier to understand as to like how different factors can impact calories in versus calories out. And this wasn't even a topic I was planning on talking about today, but it just popped in my mind actually while I was working out and lifting this morning. And I was like, you know what, this is going to be really good to do a podcast on. So decided to just, put some notes together and go ahead and record it. So there are two camps when it comes to calories in versus calories out. And you may have heard two different viewpoints regarding this. There's one viewpoint where it's like people are like, okay, it's so simple, calories in versus calories out. If you're not losing weight, it's because you're not eating the right amount of calories, and it's because you're not in a calorie deficit, and this and that, right? Which is, in the most simple context, true. Like if you are not losing body fat, you are not in a calorie deficit by definition. But there are a lot of variables that come into play with this. And then there's another side of the equation or side of people who are like, calories don't matter. I had this hormonal issue and that's why I'm not losing weight. So regardless of how many calories I'm eating, that's why I'm not losing the fat that I want. Or they, decided to change up their food sources for whatever reason. And they're like, I didn't even track calories and I still lost weight, or I started eating super healthy and I actually gained weight and this and that. So like, there's some people who are like, okay, calories in versus calories out. It's so simple and that's all that matters. And there's other people on the other side where they will tell you that calories in versus calories out doesn't matter at all. And calories in versus calories out is the like cornerstone of fat loss, fat gain, or even just tissue gain in general, of gaining tissue on your body in the most part. Like we cannot create body fat out of nothing. And we can't create body fat without having like extra resources to do it. So if you are truly burning, let's say 2,000 calories a day, and you are literally eating and digesting and absorbing 2,000 calories per day, you won't gain body fat unless maybe a rare circumstance where you're under eating on protein, not resistance training. So then your overall body mass is staying the same, but a higher proportion of that is body fat versus muscle mass. But let's say if protein is the same in both scenarios and resistance training is the same in both scenarios, if you're eating the same amount of calories than what you burn, you will not gain body fat. But I thought this analogy was really helpful that I was thinking of when I was lifting weights today during my workout, that I think will but explain why there are some misconceptions regarding this, and maybe just a new viewpoint of how to think about this. And I like thinking about things in analogy form because it helps you relate it to something else. And like, oh, I understand that this works this way. So if this works the same way in the body, it helps me to just kind of connect those two. So losing body fat is essentially like saving money for a vacation or a trip. So when we want to lose body fat, we need to eat less calories than what we burn. And if we want to save money for a vacation coming up in, let's say, a month, we need to spend less than what we earn. Like that is pretty straightforward, right? If you want to save, couple $1,000, a few $1,000 to take your family there, or, you go yourself with maybe your partner, friend, whatever, you have to spend less than the amount that you make over, a period of time to save that money. And one big reason why I like to do a priming phase with my clients, which is where, we see where their current calorie intake stacks up compared to where their maintenance should be, and we slowly build their calories up to this level. The reason why I like to do that is because we are essentially maximizing the amount of money, quote unquote, that you are earning, which then will make it easier for you to save, right? Think about if you were working a really low paying, maybe entry level salary job, or not salary job, but hourly wage job at some company, right? Entry level, lower paying, not really making a ton of money in there. If you said, okay, I'm going to save a certain percentage of my money each month, or I'm going to save, $200 each month or whatever, $500, it's going to be harder to save if you are making less money versus if you are making more money, right? At least the absolute amount of money is going to be harder to save. Like if you were like, I'm going to save $500 from each month, it's going to be harder to save $500 each month if you're making, let's say, $3,000 a month versus if you're making $10,000 a month, right? Because it's a bigger proportion of that. Same thing goes with if you were to start a fat loss phase without doing a priming phase. And the purpose of this priming phase is to build your calories up so it kind of boosts your metabolism a little bit. Now, a lot of coaches have thrown this idea out there that you're going to like dramatically increase the amount of calories you burn by like 1,000 calories per day. And that's just not the case. You're not going to see that big of an increase in the amount that you burn, but you could see a little bit of an increase, maybe by a couple hundred calories, maybe even a few hundred calories in some cases of how many calories you burn per day by bringing your calories up first. So in this kind of analogy or the scenario is that, let's say if you wanted to, save $500 a month for this vacation, it is going to make more sense to maybe not necessarily wait to save money until you get a promotion, but it will make it easier to save that $500 a month. So you're not really pinching pennies. Maybe you're not taking money out of that like grocery budget category that you have. You're not having to do that if you maybe wait to save that $500 a month until you get a promotion where your pay increases. Whereas with this priming phase, it makes more sense to spend the time to build your calories up, to build your metabolism up a little bit. So then when you do have to take calories away to enter a fat loss phase, you just have more to take away from. So it's a smaller percentage of your total calories that you're dropping from. Same thing goes if you were to wait until you got a promotion and your pay increased, and then you're able to save that $500 a month, but it's not sucking you as dry as much because you just have more income coming in to take away from. So that is like the purpose of this priming phase and why it is the first phase that I take all my clients through. Now, can you save up for a vacation before you hit that promotion? Absolutely. But is it going to be harder? Is it going to be more difficult? Are you going to have more discipline in your spending in other areas? Absolutely. And same thing goes for, this fat loss phase. And, another analogy too, like, let's say if you did start saving $500 a month for this vacation before you got this promotion, you might be okay, like pinching those pennies and everything for like 2 or 3 months. But then after maybe 2 or 3 months, you get burnt out and you're like, we really just need to go out to dinner to like get away. And then you aren't able to save as much that 4th month, which is fine, but that's going to reduce the amount of money you're saving that 4th month for that vacation. And the same thing goes for the fat loss phase. If you jump into it right away, you might see a little bit of fat loss initially, but because what you're taking away is such a big proportion of the amount that you can eat per day and maintain your weight because you haven't built your metabolism up a little bit with that priming phase, it's going to be more difficult to like consistently have that calorie deficit you need to lose fat. So that's kind of one part of this analogy, is thinking about it that way and why the priming phase is so important. It's essentially equivalent to if you wanted to save $500 a month for a vacation, it's essentially, okay, putting that saving just a little bit on hold for maybe 1 to 2 months until you get that promotion and you start getting that bigger paycheck to then start saving so you aren't as sucked dry. So that's number one as far as this analogy. Number two, as far as this analogy. Let's say that you start this fat loss phase, or you start this saving phase for this vacation. So you're taking away $500 a month from what you're bringing in to save up for this vacation. You start this process, let's say on month 2 or after month 1, after doing this priming phase or after getting this promotion. Now, to relate this of how the body works with fat loss, it's almost like, let's say every week that let's say every month you save that $500, right? You start your saving on month 2 after hitting the promotion, save $500 in month 2, $500 in month 3, $500 in month 4. Let's say for whatever reason, every month you spend at that higher position, that promotion where you're getting paid more, every month you spend there, because you have so much more responsibility, because you're getting paid more, you start to get burnt out. And let's say you're getting paid on an hourly wage, hourly pace, and you can kind of manipulate how many hours you work each week. You kind of have a little bit of a control over it. Obviously, you can't just work 0 hours a week, or you can't work 1,000 hours a week. Like, there's a limit, but there's some kind of wiggle room, and you can kind of choose your own hours a little bit. If you have so much responsibility, in this new promotion, in this new position on month 1, month 2, month 3, month 4, you might eventually start getting burnt out, and you start to work a little bit less. Maybe on month 2, you work a total of, let's say 200 hours in the month. And then on month 3, because you work so hard on month 2, getting burnt out from the responsibilities, you're like, I just need a little bit of a break from work. So I'm going to work maybe 180 or let's say 190 hours in month 3. And then month 4 goes by, and then you continue to get burnt out, and maybe you work 185 hours. And then the next month, and so on. So every month you are in this promoted position and saving at the same time that $500 a month for this vacation. Your hours that you are working total in a month start to go down, because you start to, evidently get burnt out. Like, you started, at this pace working a ton because you were super excited about this new position and the new money coming in, but it eventually got to a point where it wasn't really sustainable. And each month, the amount of hours you work slowly went down. And that is equivalent to when you're in a fat loss phase and you bring calories down to lose body fat. Every month or every week, let's say your metabolism, the amount of calories you burn, so the amount kind of coming in, or I guess in this case going out, when we're thinking about physiology, that amount starts to come down slowly over time, just like your total income each month comes out slowly over time. Now, you're still taking the same $500 a month out of your total income, but the amount of that income that you're taking out from a percentage basis actually increases each month based on the amount you're bringing in or the amount of calories you're burning, because the amount of calories you're burning are coming down slowly each month, along with the amount of money you're bringing in slowly each month comes down. And because of that, over a period of time, that gap will start to close, where maybe instead of, let's say, making $10,000 a month and saving $500, maybe after 4 months of saving and at that higher position, you're only bringing in, let's say, $8,000 a month and saving $500, which, in this scenario, this example might be well enough to save the $500 to be fine. But let's even say you started at $6,000 each month coming in, and then after 3 or 4 months, maybe you're only bringing in $4,000 a month, because your total work hours and the total amount of money you're bringing in starts to go down incrementally each month, because you start to get burnt out and start to work less. And the same thing goes with fat loss, where you might start your fat loss phase burning 2,000 calories a day, and you take away 500 of those calories from your food, so you're only eating 1,500. But then after month 1, maybe your calorie burn comes down to 1,900. And then month 2, your calorie burn comes down to 1,800. Month 3, your calorie burn comes down to 1,700. And it starts to close that gap to where, okay, like, it's getting closer to where I'm not saving as much, or I don't have as much left over as what I had in the beginning. Same thing with this, example with the saving money and your income coming down incrementally each month. The amount you have left over starts to kind of diminish. And that starts to put a little bit of a strain on, how easy the fat loss phase feels, or it puts a strain on how easy saving that $500 feels. So that's another kind of analogy there to connect these two. Another analogy with this is, not only does your total income come down slowly month after month after month while, you're saving this money, with this promotion. You also, let's say you have temptations when it comes to spending money. Like, let's say, going out to dinner is a big one for you and your partner, you and your spouse, you and your family, where it's really tempting to go out to dinner. And let's say even like not even dinner necessarily, but let's say just getting Chipotle, going through Chipotle really quick, because I absolutely love Chipotle. I eat it all the time. Let's say Chipotle is like your big weakness, right? And you're always tempted. And let's say the nearest Chipotle is like, let's say 15 minutes away. So it's kind of a drive. So it's a little bit inconvenient for you to go. And maybe, you only deal with that Chipotle temptation maybe once every couple of weeks in the beginning of your saving period, which is equivalent, like I said, to this fat loss phase. But let's say every month for the next 4 months, for whatever reason, somebody decided to open a Chipotle up just like a mile away. And let's say they opened one up a mile away at month 1, and then they opened up another Chipotle a mile away in month 2, and let's say in month 3 they opened a Chipotle even a half a mile, and then month 4 they opened one up where literally you could like look down the street or look across the street and see a Chipotle right there. So as the months go on, because of those new Chipotles getting built, your temptation to go and buy Chipotle and spend money, extra money that you're trying to save, ends up going up. That temptation goes up every single month, and it becomes even harder to be disciplined to not spend that money on Chipotle as the months go on. This is similar, or a good analogy for this is the longer you're in a fat loss phase, so the longer you're eating less calories than what you burn, week after week, month after month, your hunger or that temptation to eat higher calorie foods or just eat higher calories throughout your day starts to go up too. And on month 1, maybe your hunger increases. Like if you were to rate this on a scale of 1 to 10, maybe on month 1, after month 1, your hunger goes from a 4 to a 5. And then on month 2, your hunger goes from a 5 to a 6. And month 3, it goes from a 6 to a 7, and so on. Eventually, if these scenarios both play out, you're going to have a Chipotle literally at every corner right when you look outside. And it's going to be so hard to to resist that temptation to buy that Chipotle, whereas the same thing goes for your hunger and how it increases week to week or month to month in a fat loss phase. It's going to be so hard to not fall into that temptation and end up buying that Chipotle or I think I was talking about hunger. It's going to be hard to not fall into that temptation to eat more, right? So this is why planned diet breaks and maintenance periods are so crucial for long-term success, because no matter what you do, your hunger is going to increase as you go through a fat loss phase. No matter what you do, the amount of calories you burn will slightly, incrementally decrease a little bit over time, which is going to make having that deficit that you need to lose, that weight each month or each week, it's going to make creating that deficit harder. Same thing goes for this example that I'm laying out with the saving money. With your income decreasing each month, along with the temptations of spending money increasing each month, it's going to make it so much harder to save that $500 each month. Now we go into a diet break or a maintenance phase where we bring calories back up to maintenance. And what that does with fat loss is it helps to reduce hunger. So instead of hunger being at like a 7, brings hunger back down to like a 4 for a period of time. Now, sure, you're not achieving more fat loss during this diet break or maintenance phase likely, but you're bringing that hunger down and giving that hunger a little bit of a reset. And then same thing goes for these temptations that you're having when it comes to fat loss. When you go into a maintenance period, it helps to reduce those temptations, that extra hunger signal that you're experiencing. It reduces that too. But bringing your calories back up to maintenance also helps to bring that calorie burn up a little bit too. So if, let's say, your maintenance calories came down from 2,000 to close to 1,700 after a few months of being in a fat loss phase, by going into a diet break or a maintenance phase, you can kind of gradually build that maintenance back up to maybe 1,900, maybe 1,950, maybe 2,000 again. So then it creates this opportunity where your calories are back up again. You've reduced your hunger. You've also learned the skill of what it takes to actually maintain your body weight during that time period, which is crucial for long-term weight loss success. And then you set yourself up to go through another spurt of being in a fat loss phase. And this is equivalent to, let's say, if you were to take a vacation from work, right? You were just talking about those scenarios where, you had all these Chipotles around from you and your income was slowly decreasing because you were getting so burnt out from work that you had to work less hours. So you were getting paid less on an hourly rate and this and that. Let's say you go on a vacation for 1 to 2 weeks. And on that vacation, you have a mental reset. You have a mental reset of resisting the Chipotles around you so much. You have a mental reset from working so much. So then you come back from that vacation and you're able to work that 200 hours again on that month you come back. And you're able to resist Chipotle entirely for an entire week because you spent a whole week away from Chipotle. So you're like, okay, my discipline tank is filled back up again. So that would be kind of analogous to, implementing a diet break. You're implementing a work break in order to kind of reset yourself so you're able to put the foot on the gas a little bit and work more, so then you can start saving a little bit more because you're working more and making more money that way. So this kind of explains a little bit as to like the adaptations that take place when you are in a fat loss phase and the adaptations that take place when you do a priming phase and when you go into a maintenance period or a diet break. Like, maintenance periods and diet breaks are there to reduce hunger, reduce some of that temptation you've been feeling. They also are there to kind of build your metabolism back up so you have more calories to pull from when you want to go into a fat loss phase again. Same thing with, this analogy with the making the money and all that stuff is those vacations are there to kind of reset you so you're able to work, the 200 hours again the next month to make that higher amount of money. So then saving that $500 a month for your next vacation becomes easier. And then there are other parts of this analogy too you can think about are like, let's say if you have certain conditions, like let's say a thyroid condition or a hormone condition or this and that maybe make fat loss more difficult. That would be the equivalent in this analogy of, let's say, in order to go to work, you have a 45-minute commute versus somebody else that has a 5-minute commute. Somebody who has a 45-minute commute, assuming you're not getting paid drive time, they're going to have less hours in the day to rack up throughout the month to make more money, to have more money to save for this vacation. Versus somebody who lives just 5 hours away, they're going to be able to work more hours, so they're going to be able to achieve the savings of $500 a month a little bit easier because they're going to be able to get paid more because they just have more opportunity in the day to work. So if you have like a thyroid condition or something that slows down your metabolism or this or that, like, it's not a death sentence when it comes to fat loss. It just makes it maybe a little bit tougher because your metabolism is maybe slow down just like a little bit, or maybe you experience a little bit more fatigue, so you burn a little bit less calories throughout the day because you're just moving around less because of that fatigue with a thyroid issue and that because your energies are lower. Or maybe you have some kind of hormone condition where you experience a little bit more hunger, and that makes it harder to resist those temptations of buying Chipotle and spending that money as often. So hopefully this helped to kind of, wrap your head and think about the whole fat loss thing, the priming phases, the fat loss phases, diet breaks, in a little bit of a different way. I think connecting these things to finance and money is really good because it works in similar ways, not exactly, but I think, everybody deals with finances in some way. Everybody deals with money. So I think if you can think about it that way and connect it to fat loss and how the body works, then it's easier to understand, to where calories in versus calories out is king, but there are a lot of factors that influence calories in versus calories out. Just like saving money, earning more than what you spend is key to that, but there are a lot of influences regarding that of, like I said, like, your thyroid conditions, hormone conditions, what season of life you're in. If it's the holidays, you're going to have more temptations and you have more these Chipotles or ads of, going on your screen, on your computer screen or phone screen to tell you to buy more items so you spend more money versus, let's say, when you're not in the holiday season, there's less ads popping up on your screen and this and that. So it's very similar. So hopefully this helped to put things in perspective a little bit and, go over some of the differences. I thought it was a unique way of looking at things, so I thought it'd be helpful. So hopefully you found this helpful. Let me know in the comments if you did. Remember, you can still join the iThrive Collective for just $34 a month right now. Monthly challenges, recipes, workouts, weekly Q&As, all all this stuff, videos, modules. Won't go through the whole spiel now, but you can also apply for one-on-one coaching too if you are interested in getting started with that, especially, with summer winding down, fall coming up. So yeah, hopefully you guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you guys in the next one.